Hello and welcome to our show. I'm Irma Baker, and we all know about retirement homes for people, but have you ever thought of retirement homes for pets? Well, right after this message, we're going to find out if maybe your home could be a retirement home for a pet.
RSVP of Summit County has been making a difference in our community since 1972. RSVP volunteers are increasing the quality of life by participating in programs and organizations that provide important services to the community. RSVP matches personal interests and skills with opportunities to serve. If you're interested in adding more meaning to your life and improving the lives of others, please call 330-253-4597 extension 166.
Welcome back. Our guest today is someone you may know from seeing her on WCTV before. We're glad to have her with us. She is Georgette Thomas, and she is the founder and president of Pay It Forward for Pets. Georgette, glad to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Well, tell us a little bit about this. I'm absolutely intrigued with this idea of you looking into the retirement of pets, and certainly our program is geared toward basically retired viewers. So tell us a little bit about what got you started in Pay It Forward for Pets and how your Senior Pets for Seniors program works.
I've worked in animal welfare for 15 years in the Northeast Ohio, Summit County area. And I've been with foster programs, and I've been with the local Humane Society, and spent the last 7 years with a large private nonprofit animal rescue group. And in my process of working with these organizations, you get to see a lot of areas that there is no time or money to put effort into. And so Pay It Forward for Pets was really designed to fill in those gray areas. And one of the areas that was very near and dear to my heart are these senior pets that you see in shelter. And there's lots of them. Unfortunately, some of them wander away from home and end up in shelter, but oftentimes it's because they were very loved and used to a house and a couch, and their pet owner went into a retirement facility that doesn't allow for pets, or maybe into a nursing home, or maybe passed away, and the family doesn't want to be, it doesn't have the ability to take in that pet. So these animals end up in shelter, and when they end up in shelter, it's very, very concerning to witness the stress that they endure, again, once used to a house and a couch. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to come up with a program that would enable these pets to get out of the shelter as quickly as possible and place them in a home that was appropriate. And an appropriate home can be a younger home, but it can also be another senior's home. Oftentimes they're coming from a quiet place anyway. They've had a nice quiet life. They're in their golden days or their golden years. Why not match them to people that are also in their golden days or in their golden years, and companion them up, and so that they can then live out their days together.
Well, that brings up a good point when you talk about older adults and older pets, because I know that there are some older adults who simply are very leery of taking on a pet. They'd like the companionship. Maybe they've lost a dear one, or they've lost a pet that was with them for a long time, and they would like to have that companionship of a pet, but they don't have the energy or the desire to paper train a puppy,
right,
or to deal with a litter box for a new kitten.
Correct.
So this sounds like a perfect matchup.
It's a great matchup because you have to remember these animals are considered senior, so they've already, again, like I always use the phrase, used to a house and a couch. And so they know how to behave in a house. They're past the chewing stage. They're not going to soil on the carpet because of the fact that they're already housebroken. They're usually pretty sedate in that, they've been cuddle bugs or couch potatoes for a while, and so they're not going to require that their pet owner have a lot of activity with them. And they still have a lot of life left in them. They're not watching them live out their days in a shelter is not easy to do. And so what it brings to a senior citizen's life is huge too, much like what you said. The companionship is just immeasurable. Statistics are really interesting. In fact, the science is a mile long of the benefits of pet ownership for a senior citizen. It gives them purpose. A reason to get up in the morning. A lot of times we get real sedate in our years, and we don't want to, if we don't have to get up and change our clothes, maybe we're not going to today. And yet, if you have a little dog, you're going to have to take them out to go potty, or you're going to have to walk them to the door. So it also promotes exercise. If you're living in a building that allows for pets, then it promotes socialization. You're outside with your pet. You're seeing people. You're talking to people, you're taking the steps to get the pet outside. Again, going back to exercise, pets lower our blood pressure. They lower our pulse rate. They offer us, a sense of security. Their barking makes us aware. So it's immeasurable what they bring to our lives.
Is it mostly dogs that are placed with seniors, or are there other pets that are handled in the program?
We're handling dogs and cats in our program, and domestic animals, and lots of cats. Cats are even easier to take care of than dogs. You're not getting up to put that cat out, but you mentioned, the litter box, and, having to keep that clean. And again, if you're not there to take care of that beloved pet, then, where's that pet going to go next? So it gives us a purpose. It gives us a reason to stay strong, to stay healthy, to take care of ourselves, to be ever present, because they need us.
And it's someone, as I know, many people do consider pets like people. It's someone to talk to. It
is someone to talk to. In fact, I have some statistics here because I think these are really interesting statistics about shut-ins. And really how our shut-ins, our people, our senior citizens that don't get out much, they don't have much family around them, how they interact with their pets. So they did a survey, and they found that 95% of our seniors, I do it too, I'm 50, I'm going to be 52 years old, I do it too, but talk to their pets as if they're another person in the home. And they admit to it. And I admit to it too. 82% said that when they're feeling sad, petting or caressing a pet, touching a pet, makes them feel better. It brings calm to their life. 65% said that when they're feeling poorly, that actually interacting with their pet makes them feel better. And this is an interesting one too. 57% confide in their pet. And you have to wonder if that statistic doesn't carry over to our small children that live in isolation too. Oftentimes a pet is a person, young or old, only confidant that they have.
When you look at a pet also, you have the advantage of the pet accepting you as you are and not going to criticize you.
I always like that. I always like the fact that they don't care if we're skinny or heavy, if we're dirty or clean, if we're poor, rich or poor, they don't care. I mean, the unconditional love is so present and so there, and the acceptance is there. And they're just, you can't even bottle it. You can't even put a value on it.
How does someone become a home through your program?
We have our Senior Pets for Senior Citizens through Pay It Forward for Pets. And if anybody is interested in the program, they can contact me personally. And my number is everywhere out there. It's on our Facebook page. It's on our website. I can give it. But it is a program that anybody 55 years plus, and I know 55 isn't considered senior, but we also know that a lot of people have a life change in their mid-50s. They may be, illness could take place. Isolation could take place. Anything could happen. There's a lot of shut-ins in their mid-50s. And so I wanted to make it an age where it benefited the human and it benefited the pet. And then we consider a senior pet anything 6 years plus. And we know that's not quite senior either. But we had to broaden our program and broaden the pool for both the pet and the person. So anybody 55 plus who goes down to, and right now this program is strictly at Summit County Animal Control. So Summit County Animal Control is located at 250 Opportunity Parkway down by Akron General Hospital. And close to the food bank, the Akron Canton Food Bank. And they go to Summit County Animal Control, and if they see a pet there, a cat or a dog, that is 6 years plus, then they just notify me. And when they notify me, we talk about it. There are some qualifiers that we do in a telephone interview, and I will then make sure that it's a good match. We've gone over a lot of things. We're going to go over, how, to handle vetting moving forward, how to handle nutrition moving forward. Is there a plan for that pet should something happen where you could no longer care for that pet? What is your plan? Is this pet going to end up back in shelter? So maybe we're not going to pick that 6-year-old pet and put that with that 91-year-old senior citizen. Maybe we're going to pick that 10-year-old pet and put that pet with that 91-year-old citizen. It doesn't necessarily have to work that way, but we want to know that there's a plan, because what's worse, that senior ended up in shelter again, and then us looking to place that senior pet again. So, there's ways to do it, but your senior pets sit a long, long time in shelter because everybody's afraid of it. So what better way through this program to get these animals into homes and benefit our human population too?
Is there any downside to it? I mean, realistically, what are the risks perhaps that someone is taking, especially if maybe they've never had a pet before? What do they need to know to make this successful?
Well, I don't see it as a risk, because again, we're putting sedate animals into sedate homes as a rule. It's a quiet thing for both of them. So I don't see it as being a lot of commotion. Somebody has to be mobile. You have to be mobile to care for anything. So somebody needs to be mobile. So probably somebody that doesn't have the ability to be mobile, or somebody in the home that is mobile, maybe a spouse or a friend or somebody they're living with, residing with, somebody they can depend on, a family member. They need to be mobile to some extent. They need to be able to get that animal to a vet should that animal need vetting. I always say they're gonna need vetting. We need doctors as human beings. At some point, they're gonna need vetting. They're, maybe not a lot, and you may get lucky, they need none, but I say count on having a vet, being prepared to see the vet with your pet. So you have to be able to afford that. You have to be able to have the ability to get that pet to the vet. You have to have the ability to get nutrition to the home. So you either have to go out to get nutrition, dog food, cat food. So it takes effort. But again, all this effort is why there are health benefits associated with pet ownership, because it gets people moving. It gets seniors back to life.
I was just thinking that many of our senior citizens are people who have cared for others throughout their lives. And now maybe the spouse is gone, or in some cases, like you mentioned, we're talking about a 55 and older population. Well, maybe they were caring for an elder parent, something like that. And that whole sense of the years and years of caring, and now who do you care for?
Right.
Kids have grown up and moved out, they're on their own. And here now is the opportunity to take in someone, and I'm an animal lover too. Mine is a cat. I don't have a dog, but
Sure.
I do have a cat.
Sure.
And there is that sense that he is a member of the family, and caring for him is a good thing. It's a fun thing. It's a pleasant thing. And none of the things that you were mentioning are that big of a deal. People do have friends, they do have contacts, they have to go out and get groceries or get groceries in some way anyway. So, all right, they add the dog food. Vets, for most animals, it's maybe twice a year that you have to see the vet, and And that's good.
Yes. Yep.
Again, you've got a good contact there. So I'm very excited about this program. It certainly sounds like it is something that many of our viewers could take advantage of. How would they get in touch with you now? I know we talked a little bit about your phone number is out there on your website. And what is your website?
Our website is www.payitforwardforpets.org. And my phone number is 330-760-0763. And that is my personal phone. It rings to me. Everybody contacts me directly for this program. And again, we're just going to have those conversations because the conversation has to be had. Because a lot of times, like you said, if they're not a pet owner, maybe they haven't thought about these things, about getting food and nutrition, that kind of thing.
Well, tell me this. You are obviously dedicated to this program. You've worked, as you said, with humane organizations for a long time. How did you make the jump? That had to be a risk for you to make that jump. How did it happen that you were able to take that jump to start what is really a very valuable asset and resource in our community?
It was a jump, and I even, I'm 5 months into it, and I'm even surprised in the morning when I wake up, and I continue to get up every morning and say, I'm going to make something happen today, and how this happened. But basically, like I said, having 15 years of experience working with what everybody thinks of as traditional rescue operations, foster program, humane society, bricks and mortar, shelters, that watching some of these areas not being tended to, just like Senior Pets for Senior Citizens. I also have a program called Nobody Left Behind for veterans who befriend